Imagine this, you walk into a room and someone barely acknowledges you. You immediately start thinking, did I do something wrong? Do they not like me? Or you send a message and hours go by without a reply. Suddenly your mind is spinning with self-doubt, overthinking, and unnecessary stress. We've all been there. But what if I told you that most of the things we take personally were never personal to begin with? Today, let's talk about the freedom that comes from letting go. We walk through life assuming that people's actions, words, and behaviors are direct reflections of how they feel about us. Someone doesn't return our call, and we assume we did something wrong. A coworker is short with us in a meeting, and we believe they have an issue with us personally. A friend forgets to invite us to an event, and we take it as a sign that they don't value us. But here's the reality. Most of what people do has nothing to do with us. People see the world through their own lens, their own fears, their own insecurities, their own experiences. Their reactions are shaped by their struggles, not by our worth. When someone is distant, distracted, or even unkind, it is often a reflection of what's happening inside them, not a judgment on us. Yet, we personalize everything. We internalize other people's moods, we attach meaning to their actions, and we make assumptions about ourselves based on how others behave. But when we do this, we allow external forces to dictate our self-worth. We become emotional puppets, reacting to every small change in someone else's behavior. Now think about this. How often do you go through a day lost in your own thoughts? Maybe you're stressed about work, worried about your family, or just feeling exhausted. In those moments, are you actively thinking about how your silence, your lack of response, or your distracted nature might be affecting others? Probably not. And yet, when the roles are reversed, when someone else seems distant or disengaged, we assume it's about us. We assume they're upset with us, that they don't respect us, that we did something wrong. But just like you have your own struggles that affect how you show up in the world, so does everyone else. The truth is, people are far too consumed with their own worries, their own responsibilities, and their own self-doubt to be constantly evaluating or judging us. And if they are judging, that judgment still says more about them than it does about us. This is why one of the most freeing realizations in life is understanding that we are not the center of everyone's universe. Not in a dismissive way, but in a liberating way. When we stop assuming that every interaction is a reflection of our worth, we stop wasting energy trying to control things that were never ours to control in the first place. Think about how much peace you could have if you simply let go of the need to interpret, analyze, or take responsibility for other people's moods. How much lighter would you feel if you stopped assuming the worst every time someone didn't meet your expectations? Because at the end of the day, people's actions and emotions are driven by their own internal world, and that world is far bigger than us. We live in a world that constantly tells us to care about what others think, care about how people perceive us, care about every little interaction and response. But the problem isn't caring. The problem is caring too much about the wrong things. Things we can't control, things that drain us, things that have nothing to do with our real worth. That's where emotional detachment becomes powerful. Now, let's be clear. Detachment doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It doesn't mean shutting people out or ignoring emotions altogether. It means developing the ability to remain steady no matter what happens around you. It means refusing to let every little comment, every minor inconvenience, every unpredictable mood shift in others dictate your inner state. Most of us live in reaction mode. Someone criticizes us and we feel attacked. Someone ignores our message and we feel rejected. Someone disagrees with us and we feel invalidated. We let every small event shape our emotions, and in doing so, we give away our power. But here's the truth. Your emotions are yours to manage, not for others to control. Think about the last time someone's words or actions ruined your mood. Maybe it was a rude comment, an unfair judgment, or even just someone being distant when you expected warmth. Now, ask yourself, was that reaction worth it? Did taking it personally improve your life in any way? Or did it just create stress, frustration, or self-doubt? Emotional detachment gives you the ability to step back and observe without absorbing. It allows you to hear criticism without crumbling, to face rejection without questioning your worth, and to navigate difficult situations with clarity instead of emotional turbulence. Imagine someone throws a ball at you. If you catch it, you now have to deal with it. It's in your hands, and you're responsible for what happens next. But if you let it drop to the ground, it no longer affects you. Emotional detachment is the same, and you don't have to catch everything that's thrown at you. You don't have to absorb every insult, every slight, every unexpected mood change in someone else. And this becomes even more important in relationships, both personal and professional. Not every conflict requires a reaction. Not every opinion deserves your energy. Not every moment of discomfort needs to be taken as a personal attack. When you detach from the need to control how others see you or treat you, you gain control over yourself. The greatest leaders, the most successful people, the most emotionally resilient individuals, what sets them apart is not that they never face negativity. It's that they don't let negativity consume them. They choose where to invest their energy. They know when to engage and when to let go. They understand that their inner peace is worth protecting. Because at the end of the day, detachment is not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally free. Our minds are powerful storytellers. Every experience we have, every interaction, every challenge, we don't just witness these moments, we interpret them. We assign meaning to them. We create narratives about who we are, what people think of us, and how the world perceives us. And those narratives, those stories, shape how we feel, how we react, and ultimately how we live our lives. But here's the problem. Most of the stories we tell ourselves aren't even true. Think about this. You walk into a room and someone doesn't greet you. Your mind instantly starts creating a story. Maybe they don't like me. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I'm not important enough for them to acknowledge. But in reality, maybe they were lost in thought. Maybe they didn't even see you. Maybe they were having a bad day and it had nothing to do with you at all. Or consider when someone gives you feedback at work. If you're already insecure, you might interpret their words as, they don't think I'm good enough. I'm failing. I'll never succeed. But what if their feedback wasn't an attack? What if they actually see potential in you and want to help you grow? The story we choose to believe determines how we experience reality. Two people can go through the same situation, but if one tells themselves a story of rejection and failure, while the other tells themselves a story of learning and growth, their outcomes will be completely different. The danger is that once we accept a negative story as truth, we start looking for evidence to confirm it. This is known as confirmation bias. Our brains filter out everything that contradicts our beliefs and focus only on what supports them. If we believe we're not good enough, we'll interpret every mistake as proof. If we believe people don't like us, we'll find small, meaningless interactions to confirm that belief. If we believe the world is against us, we'll start seeing obstacles everywhere. But what if we changed the story? What if, instead of assuming the worst, we gave ourselves the benefit of the doubt? What if, instead of making everything personal, we reminded ourselves that other people's actions are a reflection of them, not us? What if, instead of believing we are stuck, we started believing we are growing? The key is to pause and challenge the narrative. Whenever you catch yourself spiraling into a negative story, ask, is this the only possible interpretation of what happened? What if this has nothing to do with me? What's a healthier way to look at this situation? The most successful, confident, and emotionally resilient people in the world aren't free from struggles. They simply choose to see their struggles differently. Instead of I failed, they tell themselves I learned. Instead of I'm not good enough, they say I'm still growing. Instead of they don't care about me, they think maybe they're dealing with their own challenges. We don't have control over everything that happens to us, but we do have control over the story we tell ourselves about it. And the moment we start rewriting that story, we start rewriting our entire experience of life. We live in a world that constantly tests our patience. A rude comment, an unexpected setback, an argument that catches us off guard. Life is filled with moments that trigger emotions in an instant. And when we're triggered, our natural instinct is to react, to defend, to retaliate, to let emotions take control. But here's the problem. Reaction is impulsive. Response is intentional. Most people go through life in reaction mode. Someone criticizes them and they lash out. Someone cuts them off in traffic and they explode in anger. Someone questions their ability and they shut down with self-doubt. These reactions happen automatically, without thought, without control. And in the moment, they feel justified. But afterward, regret, stress, frustration. Because reacting without thinking rarely leads to a better outcome. Now, imagine if instead of reacting, you paused. Imagine if in the heat of the moment you took a breath and made a conscious decision about how to handle the situation. That is the difference between reaction and response. Response is not about suppressing emotions, it's about choosing how to act despite them. It's about taking control instead of letting the situation control you. It's about understanding that emotions are temporary, but actions have lasting consequences. Think about the times when you reacted emotionally. What did it lead to? Did anger solve the problem? Did defensiveness make the criticism go away? Did overthinking a situation make it better? Most likely, no. Because when we react, we act from a place of emotion, not from logic, clarity, or wisdom. Now, think about a time when you chose to respond instead. Maybe you took a deep breath before answering a tough question. Maybe you gave yourself space before addressing a conflict. Maybe you listened before assuming the worst. How did that change the outcome? More often than not, response leads to better decisions, stronger relationships, and inner peace. Mastering response over reaction is about developing emotional discipline. It's about recognizing when you're being triggered and stepping back before making a decision. It's about understanding that not everything deserves your energy and not every battle is worth fighting. One of the most powerful tools in mastering response is the pause. That small moment between what happens and how you choose to respond is everything. In that pause, you regain control. You allow logic to catch up with emotion. You give yourself a chance to decide rather than be driven by impulse. And when you start practicing this, something incredible happens. You begin to feel free. Free from the emotional roller coaster of reacting to every little thing. Free from taking everything personally. Free from wasting energy on things that don't matter in the long run. Because the truth is, you cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. Life will always throw challenges our way. People will say things that hurt, situations will unfold unexpectedly, and emotions will rise when we least expect them. But our power doesn't lie in controlling the world around us. It lies in controlling how we respond to it. When we realize that it's not about us, we stop carrying burdens that were never ours to hold. When we embrace emotional detachment, we free ourselves from the weight of unnecessary pain. When we rewrite the story, we shift our perspective from self-doubt to self-empowerment. And when we learn to master response over reaction, we take back control of our emotions, our actions, and ultimately, our lives. Because resilience isn't about avoiding negativity, it's about refusing to let it define us. Strength isn't about never feeling hurt. It's about choosing not to be consumed by it. And true freedom isn't found in changing the world around us. It's found in changing how we see and respond to it. So the next time you feel triggered, the next time you start taking something personally, the next time you feel the urge to react, pause, breathe, and remind yourself you have the power to let it go.